What is it?
Well, it's called a randomizer, and it's fitted to the guidance systems and operates under a very complex scientific principle called potluck. Now, no one knows where we're going. Not even the Black Guardian.
Not even us.
Hello and welcome to the Randomizer Podcast, episode 23. I'm Tim.
And I'm Chaz, 23. Why? Our trial of a Time Lord. On the 23rd of November, no less.
Yes.
So, we've been put on trial.
We have, by ourselves. Stay tuned for some catharsis of spurious morality, a thing distinctly hard to do but a harder thing to say. Well, before we get into Flux Chapter 4, just a quick, brief and spoiler-free word about Ghostbusters Afterlife, which we went to see in our local cinema, and didn't we have fun?
Oh, it was lovely.
Yeah.
I so enjoyed it. Pure nostalgia fest, but also a great little movie in its own right, and a small-scale sequel to Ghostbusters, which is actually what it really needed.
Yeah,
I think
it was a lovely sort of faithful and nostalgic sequel. Emotional in the right places, scary in the right places, and very funny for the most part throughout. Yeah. Looked great, great performances. Yeah, just had a blast. I would heartily recommend it if you enjoyed Ghostbusters.
Absolutely, Paul Rudd was great. In fact, all the cast were great.
I did think Finn Wolfhard, who was in Stranger Things, playing one of the leads, and of course Stranger Things, they did an episode where they all dressed up as the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, he was good. The actual lead, the young girl,
Phoebe, the character.
Phoebe. Yeah, I mean, she was fantastic.
Yeah, no, great role, and just strong child actors. Wonderful.
Sort of had a Goonies vibe as well. So
yeah.
sort of, it did have that sort of 80s nostalgia thing going on. Okay, sometimes you can say, oh, that's a bit overused now, but who cares? We're growing up in the 80s, so
I loved it.
Yeah,
absolutely loved it.
Two best films I've seen this year are No Time to Die and that.
Okay, so welcome to this Doctor Who podcast. We're going to talk about Flux Chapter 4, Village of the Angels. So, I've got some notes to lead us in. They're, as usual, in no particular order, but just jump on in. So, I liked the Professor.
I thought he was great, actually.
And I didn't know this, but you pointed out that he was the same actor who was...
Hugo in The Twin Dilemma, Kevin McAnally.
The spaceman.
The space policeman.
Space policeman, yes.
Yeah.
And it sort of started out, I was a bit like, is he going to be a bit of a shitbag because he's like... Claire's clearly in distress, and he's like, no, my experiment comes first.
Yeah.
But then that seemed to be a minor kind of blip, and there's definitely a character trait that he's kind of...
Oh, yeah.
He would obsess about doing his research, even when it's not necessarily the most prudent thing to do.
Yeah, I actually found that quite endearing in some ways. I thought he was a lovely character. He was played beautifully, and he was just so interesting.
Yeah. I think he'd be a good companion.
Yeah, I know. I really liked him. And it's ironic you saying that, because I remember watching your Twin Dilemma at the time thinking, wouldn't Hugo make a good companion?
Second time lucky, maybe.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, we'll see. So what else? Just random stuff. My irony meter practically exploded at the moment where you get a close-up of the priest with the dog collar very, very firmly in the shot, and he says, I don't subscribe to superstitious folklore.
Connor was pissing himself at that one today as well. He said, that is one of the best lines.
I mean, it may just be playing to my biases, but that dog collar is so prominently lit in that shot. That
it was an obvious, little slight.
We have Death by Etch-a-Sketch. I loved it when the ECG drew the angel, or the lie detector.
It's funny, actually, because when we went into that sequence where they were having their mental tete-a-tete, and we saw you've got me saying Etch-a-Sketch now. The polygraph. Yeah, I loved that bit. And Claire had been doing drawings and she drew the angel. So we got the sort of the projection of an angel sketch and then the fire and it's wonderful.
Great visual effects there. I think we've been joking about this week's poor visual effects, and most of them are fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought the shot over Azure's shoulder down to the crowds waiting on the planet to be air quotes rescued, the green screen on Azure looked a bit ropey there, but that was a tiny detail. compared with the visuals in the episode were astonishing, and I loved that sort of sketchy angel look, and then the fire one was a lovely twist on that.
That was great, actually. I mean, you know, there was so many nice little moments when Claire went to the bathroom. And
oh, yes, sorry. I went to a bad place.
No, I really loved it. You know, she sort of suddenly looks in the mirror and the wings, and you think it's obviously an angel, but
that was a amazing shot. I saw a tweet about it from the director, and he had a behind the scenes shot, and it was a double set.
Ah, right.
So I wondered how they'd done that, if it was all CG or no, they actually shot through a frame that's not a mirror to a duplicate set.
Of course.
So clever. And I think, it was just a great reveal and really creepy.
Yeah.
And just a new thing about the angels again. There's so many new things about the angels. I thought split screen for the blink moment in the TARDIS, which is an unusual
excellent
visual technique in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
The wing reveal in the mirror we talked about. Now, who threw this rock into the house? Was that the angels? Ringing doorbells and throwing stones?
I think so. What gets me is that, I mean, it was a great joke. Are they actually ringing the doorbell?
Weird.
But they rang the doorbell and then they smashed the window, and I said to Connor, well, that's a bit rude. You know, just because nobody answered the door.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the rock gets thrown through, whatever, and, of course, the Doctor fucking sonicked a rock. That sonic screwdriver, I'm sorry, but I love this episode. Let me get that out of the way first. I think this is the best Angel episode since Blink. Definitely. Maxine Alderton, again, has knocked it out of the park. This is wonderful. But, for the love of fuck, can Jodie lose that fucking sonic screwdriver? Do you know what we need? Pterodactyls. We want the return of the fucking pterodactyls. I want that thing destroyed.
They have one job.
Yeah. God, fucking mighty.
Once you'd finished your rant, which you're reliving now, calm, breathe. We did prompt an interesting sort of discussion about the fact that the screwdriver's grown, and it wasn't in Chibnall's era, it grew in the sort of, I think in the Moffat Matt Smith era,
I mean,
well beyond being a simple tool into a sort of mini computer.
Oh yeah, I mean it's basically a sonic MacGuffin now.
The moment you started reading data off it, that was, I think it had changed something fundamentally, and you know, it's a plot device and always was, but it's become a kind of...
It's a handy thing.
Yeah.
And like Russell T Davies said when he brought it back, he said he brought it back because there's nothing more boring than a door. You know, he said in the old days they were sort of using it for everything, and you know, you were still not getting enough plot. That's fine. But she came out of the fucking police box. The thing was on fire or something.
Hot.
She waved it about for the entire practical episode. I mean, I'm actually genuinely thinking, and I've been saying this for a while, that I think it's the actress is using it as like a security blanket. You know how if you've got a prop giving you motivation, you know, like a stand-up comedian, to keep their anxiety at bay, hold the mic so tight, and it's their security blanket. And I'm wondering if that's what it is with Jodie.
I wonder how much screwdriver action is scripted versus...
I mean, you can't script that. I mean, you can script
every third
the
word
doctor,
would be screwdriver.
You know, the doctor scans the tree.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Next incarnation, they should have some sort of regeneration accident, and they have the sonic finger. So it's just there the whole time.
She smelt the coat.
Yes.
And that was good.
That was fun.
Yeah. Because
and why not? That's better than the Sonic.
You know,
isn't it?
the Matt, what was it? Matt Smith. He licks the shed.
Yeah.
Do you know? I know, but you don't need it as much. I know it's a really minor annoyance.
It doesn't stick out for me.
It's just constant, and it's really, oh God, please.
But no, I do agree it's overused. And
yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal, but. Yeah,
for
sometimes.
Sure. I enjoy your fury at it.
Oh, yeah. I love my petty little rants.
Well, yeah, we all have them. So, yeah, the angels have the doorbell. It's like, what? That was a strange joke. It didn't really land or go anywhere, but it just happened. It's fair enough.
God.
I thought, in terms of defences against the weeping angels, right? You could have some sort of 360-degree mirrored spectacles. It's like, or tetraps. Tetraps would be brilliant against the Weeping Angels. They can see all around.
Well, you could have a tetrap, like a canary in a cage.
It's a big cage. Maybe a baby Tetrap. Baby Tetrap?
Possibly.
Yeah. Oh dear. It'd be hanging upside down in a little cage. If you're carrying the cage, you'd block its line of sight. So it would have to be a hat.
Oh my.
So it's an upside down Tetrap hat. Also, little continuity funny thing that I noticed. Doctor's piling all this amusing junk out of her pockets into Claire's hands.
Yeah, totally.
And then it suddenly vanishes from Claire's hands. What happened?
Yeah, that was a bit weird. Well, yeah.
Just an odd edit, maybe.
They might not have been Claire's hands. It might have been the Phantom hand.
Phantom Hand is back.
Yeah.
Well, talking of hand-shaped things, I did notice there's a kind of claw-shaped nebula in the space background around the village when it's put into space. That is the same nebula that's used at the background of Vinder's Rose Station when we first meet him in Chapter 1. So I don't know if this is going to pay off and that the village is being taken to the same area of space, or, and I suspect this is slightly more likely, they maybe just reused a space background.
Oh, it could be, because next week we've got the Grand Serpent, who
Yeah, true,
obviously is in the TARDIS.
Well, in front of the TARDIS, yeah. You see the door behind him.
Inside.
You think so?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay. That'll be fun. Maybe it will pay off, because it is such a distinctive kind of nebula shape.
Yeah.
Very pretty, I thought. That's why I noticed it. Because,
Maybe it's a constellation of Castorpus.
oh, could be. If it was Castorpus, that would really disturb us.
No.
Sorry.
Jesus.
Sorry. I apologise to everybody.
Yeah, you really should.
Jodie is now asking permission before she messes with your mind, which is a step forward. We talked way back at Spyfall about the kind of non-consensual mind wiping that goes on with Ada Lovelace and Noor, and this is definitely, it's a different sort of interaction, of course, to go into the mind, but yeah, it's nice to see that consent is explicit, and that was a brilliant scene inside Claire's mind, wasn't it?
Beautiful. I mean, the gradient colour was...
You're just trolling me now.
Yes, I fucking am.
It's called grading.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah, whatever.
No, the desaturation was wonderful.
Try again. I think monochrome was what you first of all called it, and I pulled you up on that as well.
Whatever.
No, the kind of steely blue look.
Yeah, it looked fantastic, and I loved the sort of the way they'd done it. You know, she was on that bit of land with the tide coming in
Sort
at
of
both
two
sides.
seas. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
It was lovely effect, and you know, I was trying to see if the stones in the middle were mirrored as well, but it wasn't that simple in effect.
No,
which was nice. It wasn't.
this entire episode is like so creepy. You know, you've got such beautiful shots, you know, so well sort of directed and laid out. The bit where Dan and Yaz, you know, Dan says, was that Scarecrow there? And then
Oh, yeah.
it's an angel and it's misty and it's okay, it's all elements of a good Hammer horror or whatever, but you know, they work for a reason.
Totally. Creepy
you know?
Village and all
it's
that.
beautiful.
Yeah, the show's
Absolutely beautiful.
visually amazing these
Yeah.
days, and it's a lovely thing. Yeah, do you think the two C's in the mind meeting scene represent the two minds? Is it maybe not that obvious, but
Well, maybe.
mind is an ocean. It's a nice metaphor.
Could be.
But yeah, I think Peggy as a child. Now you, I think we both spotted the twist coming of the old lady also being the little girl.
Seemed pretty obvious.
Yeah, but Peggy was a bit psycho, I thought. Like, you know, her admittedly arsehole adopted father. What was he? Your great uncle?
Great uncle.
Getting zapped. He was never nice to me, and that's it. But the lady went as well.
I know. I did feel sorry for her aunt.
Also, the aunt, the old woman, is wearing gloves when she touches the angel. So it's like, if you were objecting to the snapping of the finger through gloves, I object to angel touch through gloves. So,
Anything with gloves on.
yeah, maybe they were like very old gloves with holes in them. You know.
Yeah, it could be fingerless gloves.
Yeah. We know from the Next Time trailer, spoilers for that if you skipped it, that they're going to be there for at least 3 years.
Yeah. So
Quite a shock, really.
yeah, I mean it'll be a very sparsely populated village, admittedly, but
Well, there's chickens. I love the chickens on the table.
Yeah. What's interesting is what happened to the priest.
Well, he got zapped back to we don't know when.
Well,
Maybe he's just out of the plot.
assuming he got put to 1901.
Are they doing
as well.
everybody to 1901? I've seen speculation on Twitter about the exact amount that you get zapped back, and clearly it's just whatever the plot requires, but somebody was suggesting that it could be the amount of days you would have had left, you get zapped back, and then you could have a lovely plot with somebody getting zapped back just a day. Or you'd be like, oh no. But no, I think it doesn't feel like the priest is needed in the plot anymore.
Unless he died.
Oh, he got zapped twice.
Well, the angels told her
Yes.
not to, but
You don't survive it twice. That is concrete now. As
Yeah,
if, it
but
was only hinted at before.
they basically done that, I suppose, say they leave some people alive as a warning.
Yeah, because they're cruel.
It's that sort of kill everybody, but you leave one person to tell the story.
Yeah.
As it were.
There's some lovely, lovely dialogue. I loved. Oh, sorry, threw a cup at you. Snapped him out of the trance. And also, I like Jodie's thing about what was it? The only thing is, the second only thing is, and then the third only thing is. That was nice.
This is Maxine Alderton, I think.
Maybe.
You can see Jodie, the Doctor, is in charge.
Written well. She's in charge.
Well
yeah.
written. I definitely think that the whole B plot is completely Chibnall, and a lot of the Flux.
What's the B plot?
Stuff,
Vinder and Bell.
Vinder and Bell.
Right.
The Flux stuff is mainly Chibnall. I think she had the whole idea for the Angels episode, and it just fitted nicely to do this.
I do think that the ending of whatever that episode would have been as a standalone has been kind of lopped off in favour of the Doctor getting captured. I mean brilliant,
the ending,
brilliant
my
cliffhanger.
God,
Visually,
I think that'll be one that stays in the memory of a lot of kids in years to come. It's like it's such an iconic ending.
In one way, we know that the Doctor's being recalled, so unless it's like Han Solo and the Division are just going to keep her as a statue in the background.
I think that's roughly what it is. I think it's a transportation method.
It's a bit heavy.
Well,
Postage
it's
are gonna cost a
easier
fortune.
than keeping her in a cell where she can
Escape
move about
without
and everything, I suppose.
A hamster ball of Captain Jackness, yeah.
So, I think that's roughly what it is, because...
But yeah, I mean, what a way to sort of keep your prisoners from escaping is to quantum lock them.
Well, yeah, but...
And then you need to definitely keep an eye
better
on
than cockball. Sorry.
What was that whooshing sound? Oh, that was the tone being lowered.
Yeah, of course. Connor said an interesting thing, though, that do you think Jodie's in the next episode? And I'm sort of hoping she isn't, in some ways, because...
Flashbacks?
Well, no, it sort of pushes the tension up a bit more.
I suppose so. I mean, we're a long way from the eras where they had to have a holiday episode.
I don't mean for that reason. I just mean for, making it a bit more tense.
Big risk. Maybe some of it.
Well, I suspect next episode is going to be another info dump.
Well, another sort of lots of plot lines. Yeah, for sure. What else about this one? I've always said this, I think, about the Angels, that I don't think they need the scary teeth and claws in their final moment.
I don't think it's necessary. I mean, it's okay, I suppose, but I don't think it's necessary.
It was fine in Blink when it was the last glimpse and that was it, but now they get stuck that way or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they're scarier in concept than trying to be scary in visage.
The only real problem I see with the episode is just the B story is out of place.
Well, I mean, literally,
completely
the title
out of place.
interruption is another unprecedented thing, and it was cool that the music seemed to be without its bass, and then the kind of quite quickly the break-in happens.
I just think though that after that cliffhanger, you get an unprecedented moment in Doctor Who. So
it's a garbage pod.
Yeah, but immediately think this must be big.
Momentous, yeah. And it's quiet and calm and sweet.
Right.
And it's a lovely scene, but it's not...
It just unfortunately takes you away from a story that you don't really want to be taken away from.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine, but it was just weird, and definitely you've squandered your one chance to make a big impact interruption to the titles that way. I think it could have gone in when they were talking across the night and day divide. Maybe it could have stuck in there. Maybe. Or it could have been pre-titles for next week, or all sorts of things. Maybe they've got bigger plans for the pre-titles.
There's probably nowhere it could have went next week.
Running time,
I did say when we were rewatching it that when we get the edited movie version, it'll probably flow better. But
I suppose I hadn't thought of that. Talking of the day and night divide, it's a good job Carvanista wasn't around when Dan threw that stick through it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Carvanista didn't appear this week.
No, Carvanista didn't either. He was in the Next Time clip.
Yeah, that's right.
As was Kate Stewart.
Oh, I don't know.
and the Grand Serpent, so he's not dust. Definitely TARDIS doors in the background, whether they're innies or outies.
There's a new unit logo.
I didn't spot that. Is that what the military guy was
They've
wearing?
released a photo.
Oh, okay, so that's external.
Yeah. Dan and Yaz were very good this week. Maxine Alderton had remembered that Yaz used to be a police officer.
Yep. I did think that the missing girl plotline might have had more resonance for Yaz after her running away, but it didn't quite land. She maybe dealt with hundreds of them in her police training anyway. But.
What I really enjoyed was the sapphire and steel elements as well. You know, the entire village. It reminded me of the cafeteria at the end of Sapphire and Steel.
Floating in space.
Floating in space, and this village has been entirely taken out of space and time, sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, they're overusing the word quantum a lot, but I suppose it's because the angels are quantum beings.
Yeah.
But it's dangerously close to that kind of overexcited advertising. And I've always loved the fact that they talk about a quantum leap as if it's something amazing and groundbreaking. And the literal scientific definition of quantum leap is, I believe, the least amount of change expending the least amount of energy possible.
Which negates, really, the TV show Quantum Leap, because he makes a lot of change and expends a lot of energy.
Yeah. Well, that was, when the word was like advertising buzzword du jour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved the village as well, the actual village. I thought it was very quaint and charming, and I think it shows how old I'm getting, because I sat and watched it, and when they'd been zapped back to 1901, and I thought to myself, I think I'd quite like to be in a village with only about 4 or 5 people.
Take me now, angels.
It's like that Dr. Farnsworth in Futurama. I don't want to be on this planet anymore. Nice, quiet little village away. No Twitter, no fucking social media, no people,
So the line that they say is, you are recalled to division. So recalled could mean recalled to duty. What do you think?
Well, possibly.
They're trying to get them. There is definitely that vibe of the job you can never leave.
Yeah.
It's all quite Jason Bourne and all of that. But and so the angels working for the division, what do they pay them? Time, I suppose. It's your take a regeneration, mate. That's
possibly.
Take 2 for your overtime.
Maybe, I don't know, fruit.
What's in it for the angels?
Maybe it's like Dan, he gets a lot, when he's volunteering at the food bank, gets a little food parcel. Maybe it's something similar.
Remind me of the context of that line of Rassilon's about the weeping angels of old. It's when the Time Lords have got their hands covering their face.
Yeah, I think because they'd voted against Rassilon.
Yeah.
So
they had to hide their face.
So they had shamed themselves.
But was it just like, hey, check them out, they look like the weeping angels?
Yeah.
I mean, given that
mainly, yes.
the angels were working for the division.
I mean, this whole thing about the division across all planet, all time, and all species.
That's just PR.
Yeah. Somebody on Twitter said, that finally closes the gap on a really annoying Doctor Who continuity error from the Tom Baker era on the planet Voga. And then they had the seal of Rassilon.
Oh, thank goodness. Yes.
So there we go. We've solved that one.
I think they're just bigging themselves up a bit more than it's like, because somebody else on Twitter was saying, well, if they are everywhere, they've taken long enough time to catch the Doctor.
Yeah. See, this is another thing, right? We've got all species. None of this is ever came about. Carbonista, for example, has lived for thousands upon thousands of years.
Yeah, and dog ears as well, presumably.
But we've never seen a look of that species or anything.
Garm.
Garm. Yeah. But also, I think we are definitely coming to the thing where Vinda and Bell are going to their baby is going to be the Doctor.
I think I'd quite like that.
I still think it's a bit,
Again, if it's done well, why not? Certainly I like them a great deal.
I like them, but what I think it's going to be a River Song type thing where the baby is going to be the first of that species who is able to regenerate.
So they don't necessarily regenerate that.
No, and I think their universe is going to be destroyed, and the child is going to be found at the barrier. Sort of Superman-esque Moses. I'm enjoying this, but for me, it's basically a mystery I never wanted solved, and I'll never change my mind on that.
I mean, the one thing you could say for Timeless Child's plot was it did leave a lot open.
Yeah.
And so mystery to be found after a fashion, but
Yeah.
this would close the door
To
somewhat.
be honest, the only thing I would rather concentrate on is division. I think division's a good idea that could easily be worked into any of the Doctor Who without sort of the Doctor being some alien from another dimension or whatever. But if that's what it is, that's what it is. Division is a really good and interesting story that I would be more than happy to see continue.
A man is the sum of his memories, you know, a Time Lord even more so.
Yeah, it's time for your Cheatin Memory. We randomly select an episode of Doctor Who from the whole range of the programme, remember a bit about it, and then rewatch it and burble on some more about it. Last time we selected Doctor Who the movie, the 8th Doctor TV movie, and it's been a while since either of us watched it, so Chaz dug out his Blu-ray, and we had a great time watching that. So essentially, I think we both agree McGann brilliant
Oh, yeah.
and enjoyable to rewatch.
Very.
You know, the 100% perfect thing about that was Paul McGann's casting.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, in on a par with the kind of the gravitas of Eccleston for the new series, McGann was a name at the time, a well-regarded actor, and just a joy as the Doctor.
Absolutely.
Something that was only cemented and deepened by his subsequent work, Big Finish, of course. So, and likewise, I think Eric Roberts, who is just one of those actors who's in every B movie ever,
Yeah.
he's in many ways the perfect choice for the Master. He's so camp. He's really creepy as well. And he's definitely on an all-scenery diet, isn't he?
Oh, wow. I mean, he's even got a fish knife, you know, and...
Just carve off a little.
yeah, and there's a waiter there with a massive, massive big pepper to sort of, you know, to dollop on. He is dining out on scenery. He really is brilliant. I mean, at the time you were probably cringing,
Little bit.
but now it's like the scene of him coming down the stairs in the fucking Gallifreyan robes is one of the funniest things ever.
If it had a campometer next to the rompometer,
It would have exploded.
yeah, definitely. So what else we got going on? There's a car chase, or it's a motorbike ambulance chase.
Oh, yeah.
But with the obligatory banter during it, which isn't so good. But they did cut one line, which was, "Oh, thank goodness at last there are two trucks overtaking each other so we can drive between them."
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's got to happen.
Car
of
chase
course.
cliche, isn't it? Or
Yeah.
bike chase cliche. But the
was
banter,
fun.
you were saying the banter in the ambulance before they
Yeah.
escape from it is great.
Yeah, the bit where Grace and the Doctor are in the ambulance and they're sort of arguing like
Yeah.
a married couple, and the Master is interjecting and sort of that. I mean, that's actually
Fun.
quite
Yes, it's like-
funny. you
It goes
know.
from like crashingly bad dialogue like "no way, yes way" to correcting Grace's grammar kisses as well as me. It's like-
Yeah, no,
Very
it's,
strange.
that's great fun.
Although I do think they're awful slow to spot that the Beast is in there with them, but
Yeah.
the green eyes, the skin burning acid's horrible. He
Yeah,
spits like
pretty
alien
good.
blood or something.
Yeah.
Horrible. The writing's occasionally formulaic, and sort of you get lines in places that fit the kind of patterns of the genre rather than where they would actually have work to do, like the chase banter. But yeah, there's some just glorious stuff. Oh, hey, I've got a theory that'll annoy you.
Good.
Is the Grand Serpent the Master?
Oh, Jesus.
Because, you know, snake motif.
yeah.
The Master's a sort of snaky blob in this. And Mara is almost an anagram of Master.
Jesus Christ.
This is the part of the podcast where I troll Chaz remorselessly.
This is the part of the podcast where Chaz walks out and never does another podcast.
Oh dear, I'll just splice in your with an S, not a Z bit.
You know, sort of my my drone responses. Yes, Tim, have I told you how great you are?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think you're the most wonderful podcaster.
Good. S, not a Z. I'm a published author. I
There
could
we
do
go,
it.
see?
I could totally
Yep.
do it from past episodes. So, what is the Master's timeline here? Because I had a thought, which we were very keen on until I
It
actually
is not bad.
until I researched it. So the chap at the start who's killed by the helium-imbibing Daleks, he has a sort of Delgado look to him. So if that's meant to be the Delgado Master, this would mean this was pre-Deadly Assassin.
Yes.
And
just
the Eye
after
of
Planet of the Daleks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he pisses off the Daleks, they exterminate him, the Blob Master becomes Eric Roberts and then gets zapped through the Eye of Harmony to Gallifrey, except Goth in Deadly Assassin says he found him on the planet Tercerus. And just a quick side note, of course, that Fatal Death is set on the planet Tercerus.
I think we can just ignore that for the sake of, if we're going to ignore the whole timeless children thing, I'm sure we can ignore that.
But the Eye of Harmony, if I'm right, dumps him on one planet along to Tercerus, and Goth then takes him to Gallifrey. So otherwise, a fine plan, because it would leave him all shriveled up in the way that he is in Deadly Assassin.
Exactly.
But yeah, again, don't really care, but it's fun to speculate.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's like to say about, everyone's saying, oh, the Eye of Harmony has been opened. It's not the Eye of Harmony. It's a gateway, it's a portal to the Eye of Harmony. I mean, he doesn't have a fucking black hole in his TARDIS.
I don't see why not, but that's the implication.
I know it's the implication, but I think
But you can definitely...
But it would mean that every TARDIS would have to have another Eye of Harmony.
Well, yeah, another connection to the master black hole back in Gallifrey. I don't see why not.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's a portal.
Yeah.
Not a...
No, for sure.
Yeah, it's not the actual...
But if you're looking at a black hole as taking this far too seriously, as something that is a hole in space in itself, then the other side of that could pop up in multiple realities, i.e. multiple TARDISes. Yeah. I don't know. All I'd say is I want to see the bit where they're making new TARDISes where they have to install the black hole. Can you imagine the work guys coming in? Yeah, don't drop it. It's like, oh no.
What I want to know is, right, a couple of things. Why you need human eyes to open it? Why those staffs are all there, ready to sort of do that thing where you can transfer your lives to somebody else.
Just in case.
I mean, and also, why are there bats in
the cloister room?
In the cloister room. Oh, by the way, did you notice the bench and stuff in the cloister room?
That's
because,
right.
I basically invented the cloister room. Well, John and I. So I'm just in case I haven't mentioned, I'm a published author. By the way.
What? Really?
Yeah.
You should mention that more often.
I know, but bats in the fucking cloister room and leaves everywhere.
Oh, so that the Doctor had bats in his bath.
But the thing that really pissed me off and takes this whole episode in a different level is, why are there so many fucking candles everywhere? Lit candles. The Master's box thing has got candles all around it and fucking flowing velvet curtains. The whole thing's a fire trap. There is no health and safety whatsoever.
Maybe this is how the Master got it turned into a burnt crispy one.
It's a fucking TARDIS powered by a black hole. Are you telling me they don't have any fucking proper illumination in the place? Is it all mood lighting? Good God.
Jeez. No, I love the TARDIS set, and Fire Hazard aside, it's beautiful.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful set.
It's
but,
a love letter to the history of the program.
It is a beautiful set, but, it's definitely got to burn down. That's
why we've only seen it once.
That's why Tenants, when we went to Tenants, it's all metal grills and stuff.
I don't know, all that coral looked quite flammable. Well, possibly. It was, as we found out eventually.
Yeah, well, maybe that's how it all started.
Yeah, well, So, another almost serious point. Is there a link between the Doctor here in the movie seeing people's futures and the Doctor showing them their deaths, like she does in The Haunting of Villa Dio Duddy Dum Diddy Do? Is that Time Lord power kind of a connection?
Well, I think psychic abilities are part of a Time Lord thing. The Master's always been able to sort of influence and whatever.
Adapt as plot requires.
Yeah, well, exactly. And the Doctor's always had some sort of psychic ability, so I don't think it's too much.
Yeah, and it's played for a nice comedy with like telling them which exam question to take and stuff.
Yeah,
like
I mean, there's some quite fun bits, and as I say, it's not too far fetched, and basically a story where we're talking about a bloke stroke woman who can change form.
So one more point was about Chang Li. What do we think? I think I'm coming down on Chang Li being a basically decent kid who's sort of fallen into the wrong crowd.
He's in an area where everybody sort of just falls into being in a gang, because if you're not, you're kind of on your own and you're not protected.
Yeah.
And I think in an area like that, it's probably seen as the better option. But I think he's sort of the person who falls into that sort of thing, and due to peer pressure, I don't think he's done it yet, but he's got a gun, and I think due to peer pressure, he would probably end up killing somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. So technically, by giving them the gold dust, he's giving them a way out.
Yeah,
so
or
the
become the biggest drug dealer in the area.
Well, yeah.
Now, we see him with the conscience. So, he stays with the doctor when he's dying, but then he's opportunistically stealing the stuff afterwards. But he's won over by the end, although the Master's carelessness gives the game away, of course.
Oh, yeah, the Master's not exactly subtle, though, is he?
It's like, gloat, 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 give away my plan. Oh, never mind that minion.
I like Chang Li. I like Grace. I think they're, they're one-off companions, but I think they're really fit for purpose.
Have they both
story.
been in Big Finish?
Yeah, they have, but I don't know exactly how or what was done.
And Roberts' master was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Lovely.
they've had him in.
Oh, very tempted to seek those out now.
Yeah, I think Connor's got copies of it somewhere.
Yeah, just generally great fun, and it was an amazing stepping stone between old Doctor Who and new Doctor Who, and lovely to see Sylvester, of course, get a proper exit.
Yeah, I mean, it's rather nice. Like I said before, I think, it does over-egg the pudding in terms of explanations. We get a regeneration, we get all this, and if you've never seen Doctor Who, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
I also think regeneration is a big event and a hook, so you kind of get to have your cake and eat it by having one early dose.
Absolutely. But it was really nice. Sylvester McCoy, he didn't have a lot of lines, but he really looked the part in the TARDIS. He really suited being in that TARDIS.
With that distorted mirror shot,
outfit.
when you see his face for the first time, you'd be forgiven for thinking he was horrendously disfigured. And he goes out gurning, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, when he's on the operating table, I mean, it's quite horrific. The bit he screams at one point.
See where they cut it.
It's reminding me of the Monty Python, I'm not dead!
I'm not finished. Just so much joy and nostalgia in it as well.
Yeah.
The thumping of the console, the very doctory moments. And it's just it's great fun. Very silly, flawed, but enjoyable.
Very much.
So we're going to talk about Night of the Doctor as well, just while we're there, because there's not much on screen 8th Doctor era, so we may as well do the lot in one.
Yeah, we watched it. And it was great.
It is a gorgeous bookend for McGann, sharp Moffat dialogue, a moving finale for the 8th Doctor and this intro for the War Doctor. Although he does essentially die out of stubbornness, refusing to get out of a crashing ship.
That's a hell of a hill to die on, isn't it?
It's like, I'm going to prove a point and then you're dead anyway, so what was the point of that? But,
It was a surprise, although I think a lot of people had kind of guessed it was coming.
Right.
There was a lot of murmurs, and I was at work, and my son texted me, and I was outside work for, trying to get a signal.
So was the episode released?
Yeah.
See, because I heard what it was before I watched it.
Yeah.
So I didn't get it cold, unfortunately. I would have
that's a shame.
Completely dropped my
yeah,
jaw.
he texted me and just said, Doctor Who minisode's been dropped, watch it.
Also Connor led you into it.
And I sort of, I was like, stop talking about Doctor. I'm a doctor, but...
What? Wait. Yeah.
Having to sort of hyperventilate and everything. But,
I think my favourite moment and the best moment is that it's really shocking, that subversion of expectation when Cass recoils seeing the TARDIS. And you're just like... Because, that was, wonderful tie into the Time War and all that stuff. And Moffat really writing that well. And you expect a heroic rescue, a nice little moment for the 8th Doctor. But no, it's thrown in his face. And yeah, great stuff. No, I love that they could do that. It was lovely he name-checked the Big Finish companions.
Oh, that was great.
Although he didn't mention Grace and Chang Li, so screw them, eh? It's like...
Maybe it was just, they
never travelled, I suppose.
Never travelled with them, so, It was so much fun and just so satisfying to see the Eighth Doctor again. The new costume really suited the hair. It was like, they'd fixed what was wrong about him, I suppose.
Yeah, I did think the coat in the movie was so shiny.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it was covered in dust or crap of some sort. Because it just so reflective.
A bit much. But he looked great. I think I was sort of over-expecting a little, I suppose, when we saw it, because I thought, has he got a new TARDIS? I think it was a bit much, budget-wise.
I just thought, of course, they couldn't really afford to build a specific TARDIS console for a mini-episode, so of course he couldn't take her into the TARDIS.
Yeah.
They had to avoid that somehow.
Yeah, that's probably, well, it's not the only reason, but it
You do wonder if that problem in the writing would lead him to the next step of her going no.
Yeah, exactly. I love the fact it was Karn. You know, it reintroduces the sisterhood.
Yep.
They appear in subsequent episodes.
This idea of choosing your regeneration is quite funky as well.
Yeah, like she said, Time Lord science has been elevated on Karn.
We've now got it in SodaStream form. Choose a cup.
Absolutely. What do you need? Fat, thin, old man, woman. But that was a sort of a reuse of the bit in War Games.
Gotcha.
He's too old, he's too fat. Yeah.
What do you want? Fat, thin, old, young, anything but Scottish again.
There was some fun little bits. McGann's 4 minutes, give me knitting.
I love those lines. Yeah.
It's wonderful. It was such a lovely little love letter and also a nice little surprise present.
Yeah.
It's a bit like an adventure in space and time. You know, that was just such a beautiful thing to get in the 50th anniversary year.
Yeah.
So
good year,
I think
it?
we were
It did us proud.
I think we were very lucky, and I still take my hat off to Moffat.
I take my upside down Tetrap hat off as well.
Oh God.
Look, when I give the word, press the button. The big one? Yes, maybe it works in conjunction with the others.
So let's choose a new episode to watch.
All right, well, let's try and find out. Now, what could it be?
Sorry, I just to build up some jeopardy. I'm not going to tell Chaz for a minute while I react myself. It is the Deadly Assassin.
No!
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome!
His little face is lit up.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Oh, jeez.
and very timely, perfect.
That's the best one yet.
I can look for more clues to my theory about the Master.
Yeah,
we can listen for the Tercerus line.
And Jesus, so yeah, well, season 14. Mm-hmm. Tom Baker really in his stride at this point.
It's got that scroll at the start that looks like the organ grinders turning the handle a bit.
And Tom Baker at his most egotistic because, hey, I haven't got a companion for this one. Maybe we should just not bother and have it the me show.
We've talked about it a bit because it was way back in our early episodes of the podcast. I just rewatched it, so we did talk about it then. But I'm sure we can come up with fresh.
Well, I haven't watched it in such a long time, so I am immensely looking forward to this.
I challenge you. Oh, that struck a chord.
So it is challenge time. Now, I've asked Chaz quite often now to watch The Mutants, and we've had a series of mishaps and misadventures that have prevented him. I know you're trying your desperate best to get to watch it, my friend. So have you managed it this time?
Yes.
Great. No time travelers, no incidents involving the dog or chimney sweeps or...
No, I've watched it.
Oh my, I'm quite emotional at that. It's the end of an era.
Oh, it's the 23rd of November. I thought, anniversary of the show. I thought, I'll watch it. And I've made notes.
Oh, great. Well, lead away.
Okay. Well, The Mutants is the 4th serial of the 9th season of the British science fiction television series Doctor Who, which was first broadcast in 6 parts on BBC One from the 8th of April to the 13th of May 1972.
Really done your homework.
I have. The serial is set on and high above the Earth colony of the world Solos. In the serial, the Marshal of Solos, open brackets, Paul Winston Jones, close brackets, plots to change Solos's atmosphere to make it breathable for the humans, but not the native Solosians.
Pal, we've all seen it. What did you think of it?
Well, hold on. This episode's plot summary may be too long or excessively detailed. Please help improve by removing unnecessary details and making it more concise. June 2017. Anyway.
You're not reading the Wikipedia page by any chance, are you?
No, I did watch it.
Citation needed.
In my box are such delights.
We are resuming our journey into the Box of Delights, which is our little TARDIS money box full of old TV shows that we decided we want to watch and talk about. Now, we're spreading them out because obviously we're busy watching Flux, but we've managed to squeeze in a few more episodes of the delightful and charming Mr Benn, an old cartoon show from when we were little. So, we watched 3 more episodes. It continues to be delightful, although they do depict humans living alongside dinosaurs, which ought to be bloody illegal. It's only wrong by about 65 million years. At least
but Mr Benn's a creationist.
At least Earthshock got it right. I did like that they went into the sort of Green Cross code and we had that lovely line about be careful when crossing the dinosaur road. I mean, the show is being very responsible and safety conscious, but yet 2 episodes later, Mr. Benn's casually releasing ferocious wild animals from the zoo into the wild, into the streets of the city.
Yeah, the lion was my particular favourite because, you know, it just didn't seem interested.
It did jump backwards back into its cage at the end. That was quite spectacular. Yeah.
That could have been saving on animation, but I choose to think that line was special.
It's like, I'm going back in spectacular style. Oh, they were really sweet.
Yeah.
I looked up a couple of things about it, actually, and there was an unmade episode. There were books, and there was an episode where Mr. Benn went to prison. It was never made into a cartoon. Can you imagine? I don't know what for what. Maybe your theory of him being sort of a lone serial killer has some weight.
Well, you never know.
But the other thing I thought,
take trophies.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing I thought was sweet was that apparently, according to McKee, who wrote it, his first name is William.
Oh,
and that makes him both Bill and Ben.
Oh my God, Bill! Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite good.
Apparently, the prison episode was called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Ben, which is my kind of pun. That was his prison number.
Oh, right.
We should dig out the book because it might be like porridge.
Oh.
Your favourite.
Oh, me. It's always great fun. I just find such a charm to things like Mr. Benn, Bagpuss, Ivor the Engine, the Wombles, things like that. I mean, obviously, it's a nostalgia thing. It's when you were little, when you felt safe, etc., etc. But sometimes when you're feeling a bit stressed or you kind of just want to relax a little bit and lose yourself, it's just charming and it's fun. And it's also, because you're obviously watching it as an adult, you can kind of see when they've done the little jokes that are maybe for the adults, and basically just some of the weirdness of it as well. Like Mr. Benn and everybody else seems to have a problem with walking.
Yeah, the leg animation doesn't get much better.
It's hilarious.
They've given up on hiding everything behind hedges at least. So. We watched 3. So there was the dinosaurs one, there was the zoo one. What was the third one? It was the balloon race. That was great.
Because that was quite educational.
Yeah,
wasn't
we learned that balloons used oars.
The one with the oars, the one with the propeller, the sails.
Sails, yep.
A
kite.
Yeah,
I was like, why are they flying a kite? Did they misunderstand? But it was actually to pull the balloon along.
Quite clever, yeah.
And these were genuine methods of balloon propulsion.
Yeah.
And Mr. Benn fits a broken drain pipe to the balloon and then uses that to overtake the evil. He looked like a balloon meanie or something. He had such an evil grin.
Did. He was a sort of evil Phileas Fogg from an alternate dimension or something.
I'm surprised they didn't have him chucking his co-pilot out to win the race, but. No, that was great stuff. It was genuinely quite fun, that plot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that episode.
The urchin with whom he teamed up in that balloon reminded me of somebody, I can't think who. That was good fun. So we've watched 6, there are 14 in total, so we'll get through the rest in due course.
Yeah.
Could it have been affected by tangential deviation coming out of the warp ellipse?
What are you talking about, grease stain?
Tangent time. And we have been rewatching Red Dwarf. We've watched 4 out of the 6 of season 12 before Flux got in the way. But we've now finished off season 12 with the last 2 episodes, M-Corp and Skipper. And I think it's fair to say we found these just the best of the whole season, if not maybe the best of the Dave era. What did you think?
Yeah, I would say so.
I think so.
I mean, okay, they rely heavily on nostalgia, but I've not got a problem with that anyway. I'm a massive nostalgia fan.
Yeah.
I remember it well.
So in M-Corp, we've got this sort of invisible object slapstick. Gets a bit less slapstick towards the end, but it's a really decent satire of the kind of credit culture.
It is. I was watching this thinking, this won't be beaten. You know,
Yeah.
I really liked the episode. I liked the concept, everything about it. It was fun. It was clever. Leaning into the comedy more, but really with a good plot line anyway.
Yeah.
So, no, it was great. And then I watched the next episode and I thought, shit, this is brilliant as well.
Super, yeah.
I'll be honest, I know we normally say what's the bet, but I can't choose between these two.
That's definitely one of those two is our favourite
Yeah.
of the season. We like Mcocracy with the election and so on, and Tokitoki, of course, but
Yeah,
I
that
think
was great.
these are
fun
more
as well.
consistently strong, I think.
And also in the last episode, I mean, spoilers, I suppose, but we get Holly, we get Hollister,
Yeah.
we even get the old bunk room. You know, okay, they're going in overdrive on the nostalgia thing, but
dose of fan
god, it was
service.
great.
Yeah, and
it
then-
really was.
The end of M-Corp, of course, Lister gets rebooted back to his 23-year-old self, so we have a recreation of the very first scene.
That was so funny.
Yeah, it was
That
great
really
fun.
was.
Even continuity was brilliant, right down to the pie that he's eating, and yeah, lovely stuff. And I always love seeing Mac McDonald as Hollister. So
He's great.
when he pops up in Skipper, it was great fun.
Yeah.
The first half of Skipper, they've got a lovely sort of sci-fi setup with realizing they have to do the opposite of whatever they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, that was fun.
And it was fun with the
I
cat
like that.
derailing it all the time.
Yeah, it kind of bit like the Justice Field, really, isn't it?
I wanted to mention a website called Ganymede.tv, which I've enjoyed very greatly. It's a fan site for Red Dwarf, and they have really in-depth reviews of all of the new stuff, all the Dave stuff onwards. It's a great website. They had a wonderful phrase about M-Corp. The reviewer called it Black Mirror with a studio audience, which I thought was
That's actually a damn good point,
Yeah,
because
shrewd.
this is the sort of thing that, say, if Charlie Brooker had written it for Black Mirror, is massively dark.
Yeah, I mean, the pain with
in
your
tone.
life and your time is
And
really clever.
There's echoes of Oxygen in this as well, because that's a same sort of, capitalism taken to ridiculous extremes where you actually are having to pay for the oxygen you're breathing and everything.
Ben Elton did a play called Gasping, I think in the 90s. I briefly tried to make a radio drama out of it when I was a student, but it was never a finished project. But it's essentially where air gets privatised, and so it's obviously a satire on the things of privatisation of water supply. So there's a product called Perrier and stuff like that, and there's a scene I remember from that is a government broadcast about, now, if you're going to the toilet, be sure to make sure it's coming so you don't have to strain and use up more oxygen than you can afford and things like that.
Yes, it's incredibly funny, but, who's to say? You know, the way things are going, who's to say?
Well, Dario Fo described the difference between comedy and satire is when there's satire, you laugh, but the seed of anger remains. So there's always teeth to it, and I think it's an interesting balance to explore in terms of programs that are satirical, and I'm thankful to live in a society where we can take the piss out of our leaders, but
absolutely.
Sometimes that's the sort of letting off of steam and the safety valve that means that nothing does change. And it seems that that's the difference.
It's like you said about the Black Mirror thing, it's funny, but it does make you think, and I suppose that's good in itself.
It's got to be better than the alternative. Even if like a fraction of a percent of the people who watch it and go, oh yeah, wow, that's awful, we should do something about that. If one fraction does something about that wouldn't have otherwise.
Of course. Yeah, anyway.
No, so what else about those last two episodes? The biggest letdown in M-Corp is the awful and sexist and untrue joke about the number of words that a man and woman speak. It's such a lazy joke. She's saying the number of words a man speaks every day is X, and and it's, I actually looked it up, and there's that bullshit statistic came from a widely discredited article that was, of course, reproduced all through the media, and sort of one of those catchy headlines that's probably selling something. But it's not true. It's just, I don't know, that every so often Red Dwarf just does a lazy joke like that, which is a bit of a letdown when it's usually so humanist and so humanitarian in its targets. I think
very much, but I mean, things can get missed.
Yeah, but I think your new favourite character, Chippy, the medical injected chip, nicely physical performance of the robot monitor as well. You know, it kind of sags down and it has the strain when it's trying to get through.
Honestly, I am so pleased that they brought back things like the scutters, the snack machines, talkie toaster.
Yeah.
You know, I always found that one of the funniest things about Red Dwarf. You know, it's so hitchhikers. You know, snack machines with personalities and things. And Chippy, oh my god, he was brilliant.
Talkie toaster of the medical world.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're starting the campaign to bring him back right now. I also enjoyed spotting that the M-Corp promo video had some stock footage, which I've also used in the show. It's like
maybe you said
it's like all these sort of futuristic technology in the eye stuff. It was just like, I've used that clip. So Skipper, Red Dwarf does quantum leap.
Yep.
And Ace Rimmer's conspicuous in his absence, isn't he?
That was weird.
Not even mentioned.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't.
Yeah.
You know, because, again, I like Ace Rimmer. He's a great character, but it's something that gets trotted out now too often, I think.
For sure, and it was a nice new take on that and the beautiful way to do lots of throwaway fan service worlds. So that's what bought us the reunion with Captain Hollister and Holly, of course. The longest of the other ones is the scene with it looks pretty good, but there's this suspicious lump of cheese on the dinner table. And Craig Charles doing posh, I'm not sure I'll ever buy.
Oh, the rat.
I can't decide about the rat. Part of me's like it's hilarious and part of me's like it's awful. But
basically the implication was that the rat fucks everybody on the ship.
Yeah. I did quite like the bit about, oh yes, they're on deck 4 and 5, 7... 18 through 45. Wherever we damn want!
One of my favourites was where Lister was the captain and they were on Earth. Basically, Rimmer had the option of going home to Earth to his wife and his kids.
Yeah.
And he was, he'd made money and blah, blah, blah. But he chose not to because he can't live in a universe that Lister is doing better than him. And that is Rimmer.
Well, yeah.
He's so fucking petty.
It was brilliant.
It's wonderful.
I mean, Lister was nicely pitched as the captain who would annoy him the most as well.
Yeah.
He's in command, but he's abusing his power, and great stuff. Lovely last couple of episodes of season 12.
It was such a great way for me to end.
And you've never seen these before?
The journey, and it was so lovely to watch it and go out on a high. I know we've still got the promised land to go, but this feels like the end of the journey, or at least we're in the lay-by waiting for more.
Waiting for the A.
Yeah.
I didn't even need that.
That's great. Waiting for the A. Wow.
I can't believe you didn't say that.
That actually proves us a god, because you couldn't have that as a coincidence.
I'm sorry about what I said about the priest singing. No, I think we should watch Promised Land. We know we'll think a little less.
Oh, yeah.
Just to be complete.
Actually, do you know what? I think that most of the time when I rewatch something, I'm able to reevaluate it for, a more relaxed point of view. Okay, I'll admit that Back to Earth,
No. You enjoy the merits and are more chilled about the detriments.
Yeah, exactly. And I have thoroughly enjoyed rewatching Red Dwarf. It's not one, when you mentioned it, I thought, I don't know if I can be bothered, but do you know what? I've really enjoyed this.
Good, I'm very glad.
So what was it like, this monster?
I don't know.
It's time for Monster by Monster, where we randomly select a monster from a list of monsters and aliens from the programme and say things about them. 166. That would be The Flood. What are The Flood then?
Waters of Mars.
Ah, they were brilliant.
Yeah. That is one of the creepiest Doctor Who stories.
I think in Writer's Tale he said they had to tone it down, didn't they?
Yeah. Do you remember when you saw the makeup effects of the lips and the water and it just was horrific.
Yeah, and a genuinely terrifying monster. And I think part of what was a very dark special, wasn't it?
Very dark. I mean, this is basically we were introduced to Time Lord Victorious.
Yeah. The concept of a waterborne virus is terrifying, especially given the importance of a basic like water on a new colony on Mars.
Yeah. A very Walking Dead
They're
vibe.
quite zombie, aren't they?
Yeah.
That body horror of just one drop would be enough as well, which is always creepy. It's things like that freak me out about things like the Wirren and so on.
Yeah.
One touch is enough. Yeah. Let's pick another monster. 192. So this is the Vigil. They're from the Rings of Akaten, the ones who are chasing down the Queen of Years. So.
Right. Creepy sort of skull-like faces.
Yeah,
do you remember?
They're more a plot function than having much story of their own. They're just a device to chase down the Queen.
But they were really good in the trailer for that because it's sort of, ooh.
Got you interested. Yeah. Let's do another. 239, that is near the end. The Ribbons.
What, you mean the haunted towels?
No, Ribbons is Kevin Eldon and It Takes You Away.
Oh, for fuck.
Again, we talked about it, but, you know, you didn't like the mask much. I thought, he's very standalone and disjointed from the rest of the episode. And
I mean, don't get me wrong, Kevin Eldon.
Love Kevin Eldon.
I love him.
Yeah.
I think he's wonderful, but...
Slightly wasted.
He's wasted because they basically gave him a role playing fucking Gollum. And
I think he's thought of a bit more mythical than he turns out to be, because that whole tunnel's odd as a plot device anyway, but he's the kind of gatekeeper. You need to sort of pay him or give him a homage or whatever to get past him and all of that. But
homage?
No, I don't mean that, do I?
Hand job.
Oh, there goes the tone again. Oh, dear. No, you need to sort of get past him. He's the obstruction. In
African or swole. I don't know.
Let's do one last monster. 63.
Oh, good.
Kralls. So android invasion, right?
Wow, yeah.
Lumpy faced green aliens.
Yeah, basically creating androids and stuff to
invade.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't remember the story much. It's a weird blank spot for me. In a couple of seasons I know very well. I must have seen Pyramids the one before hundreds times. And I mean, I don't think there's that much more to them as an alien race than a bunch of bullies in lumpy masks.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. I think Roy Skelton played one of them. Yeah.
Was their planet dying? Was that the shtick?
I can't even remember.
Yeah. That's one I've just not seen for a long time.
It was Terry Nation that wrote it.
Okay.
Plot-wise, it's good. It's okay. Performances and everything. You know, there's a great moment where the Doctor fights Sarah.
Mm-hmm. And his face falls off. Well, that was Monster by Monster. We will make our way through more monster space in future episodes.
It's the end. But the moment has been prepared for.
9 times out of 10.
Thank you for listening. If you'd like to get in touch, or if you've been zapped back to the past, we can be contacted by email, if it exists, at randomizerpodcast@gmail.com. You can leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/randomizer, or follow us on Twitter at randomizerpod. And in all cases, Chazzy Boy...
Well, if you Google it, you will find out it's with an S, not a Z.
What, the flood then?
Huh?